Hello everyone! I'm excited guys to tell you that candidates tournament finally started. I was waiting for so long for the candidates tournament to start, and to tell you guys a little bit about the candidate tournament, this is the tournament where pretty much the best chess players from all over the world are playing together, and the winner of this tournament is gonna play the match against the correct world champion Gukish Doramaju. As you guys can see from the players list, that best players are playing on the candidates tournament, except Magnus Carlsen. He's no longer playing the World Championship candidates tournaments or match tournaments. And I'm gonna try to cover the games as much as I can because it's always a great opportunity to learn something new, to see what they're playing, how they're planning, and I'm gonna also try to explain the moves with easy words to understand. I'm not a grandmaster myself, and most likely I'm not gonna understand everything what I'm analyzing here, because I'm a WFM and we are now analyzing the grandmasters, not even grandmasters, super grandmasters games. So of course they are very strong chess players, but let's get most out of it. So the first game we're going to analyze is the Javokhir Sindarov against Andrey Esipenko. The few words about those two players. Javokhir Sindarov is the young chess player who recently won the World Cup. So he's very strong. And right now, things are going pretty good for him. Like, he increased his rating points so much in last just couple of months and won a lot of important competitions. So Sindarov plays white, and he started with the Queen's Gambit. My favorite. I love Queen's Gambit. I'm playing Queen's Gambit since forever. Maybe that's also one of the reasons why I chose this game. Even if, to be honest, I was a little bit more interested in the Caruana Hikaru's game because I cheer for both of them to win this tournament. But of course, Javokhir Sindarov and Esipenko, they're amazing players too, and it's Queen's Gambit, and I think very good game to analyze. Now, the white plays Queen's Gambit and black just played Queen's Gambit declines. And they're both developing the pieces. This is the pretty much the main variation and exchange variation when white treats the pawns in the center of the board. Okay, so this is exchange variation, and usually exchange variations are a little bit more dry rather than the other variation. But after analyzing this game, then you can see the Queen's Gambit exchange variation in a completely different way. Bishop f4, white is developing. That's usually where the bishop goes. It either goes on f4 or on g5 in the exchange variation, and of course developing. And black played c5. c5 is an interesting move. For so many years, like c6 was kind of the move that more chess players prefer to play to keep this pawn chain and to play this Kaspat pawn structure. This type of pawn structure, guys, you can get mostly from Queen's Gambit declined exchange variation. You can also get it from the London system. You can also get it from Caro-Kann defense. The Kaspat pawn structure is the very common pawn structure. By the way, the reason why it's called a Kaspat pawn structure, back in the days, 100 years ago, the very important international were held in Karlsbad, and this structure was played a lot on this tournament. And Karlsbad International, I think it was held since 1923, if I'm not mistaken. And this was one of the first biggest international tournament because all the stars from the world were playing. As you guys know, like it's still a tough time. When 1923 is the period after First World War, situation was not stable in the world, and also it was very hard to get together so many chess players from a lot of different countries, right? So that's why Karlsbad tournament is the very famous tournament. There's even the book called Karlsbad chess tournament, and you guys can also take a look of that book too. It's a very good book, very good tournament, and all stars of that time are playing there, right? The best chess players of all time that time. But Esipenko tried more active option, which is not as dry as c6, the c5, but a lot of time it leads to the isolated pawn on d5 after those pawns are exchanged. When white finished the development, obviously, this is where the bishop goes, it castles, and c4. c4 is one of the ideas, so black gains the space on the queen side, and they start to try to attack on the queen side. Meanwhile, against this, white's gonna later on try to break with either b3 or e4. It depends from the position and situation. Sometimes white breaks it with b3, sometimes they break it with e4. Black played knight h5. Well, in the Queen's Gambit exchange or London variations, this is a common move to exchange a little bit the pieces, get rid of this knight, which sometimes is annoying. Oh, where might this board disappear? Sorry, guys. Oops. Um, Bishop e5. Black plays f6 and wants to maybe exchange, but then he changed the plan and pushed f5, right? I think at this point, black really plays for win. They're not just satisfied with just like an equal position or something. Well, that's an after f5. This is the outpost square, and white plays the bishop on the outpost square. And b3. Well, this is like we already said, it's a common move. Anytime when you see advanced pawn, you try to undermine them. You try to break the advanced pawns, right? So b3 makes a lot of sense in the position. Queen a5, knight is now unguarded. Why not? And b5. So technically, everything goes to according to the plan. So for white, it was to develop the pieces. Now they have a piece on the outpost square. Also played b3. Later they can play also a4 to try to break the pawns apart, right? For black, black tries to use this extra space they have on the queen side and play more aggressive on the queen side. Okay, this is the moment where this knight f4 take. This is a very interesting moment, right? So it's kind of looks like a ruins the pawn structure, but this bishop in the center holds everything together. And this is the very common idea to place the bishop in the center or knight in the center and to protect it with the d4 f4 pawn. We call it the Pillsbury idea. The Pillsbury was the famous chess player from the US, but he was originally placing the knight on e5. So instead of this bishop, the knight was there. And it was protected by d4 f4 pawn. And it's very solid. It's very strong in the center, the piece, right? So it's very hard for black to break this. But on the other hand, this is a little bit awkward situation for the bishop because bishop practically cannot move. But it's a very annoying bishop. Oh, sorry. It's a very annoying bishop, right? On e5, or controlling the both side of the board. Rook e1, more normal move. I think the idea of the queen a5 is protect those bishops and place on d7, and the black can also maybe try f5 later on, depends on how white plays here. But this e6 is kind of a little bit weak bishop, right? They both are. Okay, so now this is a very close position. And what we do in a close position? We improve the piece's position as much as we can. Like sometimes when you're analyzing the games of the players this level, it's a little bit hard to understand what they are doing, right? And what they are doing is in the close position, they try to get the most out of it, right? So let's say it's a close position and let's improve the piece's position, and why not? Let's get the most out of it, right? And before the position gets more open, let's get things on the better squares and prepare everything for the pawn break later on. So white moves the rook. They build this pawn, place the pawn very solid way, right? So king g2, king's on the better square, protects the knight, holds the position side, right? Queen moves on the better square. So it's pretty the improvement, right? A small improvement, but improvement, right? Bishop h5, by the way, is a very good move. First of all, this bishop was doing absolutely nothing here. And second, after the bishop h5, not only black could trade this, which is kind of good because in the close position, knight is better than bishop, right? So they can trade this. Or just pin it and take advantage of that pin. That also can be the idea. White plays a4 and tries to break on the queen sides. And this is where bishop d1 is, by the way, a really good move. I think white kind of prepares the on another side and wants to protect this with the bishop. It's very uncomfortable to stay pinned like this for a long time. Like, a lot of times, guys, when we are pinned, it's not a big problem in that moment, but it gets the problem later on. So if someone pins you, just get rid of it. Get rid of it, right? Why to be pinned? And this is the moment where Esipenko might rush a little bit, considering that he also had the time. But this is pinned, so technically he could take this knight even on the next move or move after, right? So it was not that rushing to take that. And maybe bishop b6 and putting more pressure on d4 pawn was better, because end of the day, that's an isolated pawn, right? So black can try to add the pressure in. That's actually the reason why he took on f3. But probably it was better to put more pressure on d4 first and then consider taking this, rather than starting with this move, right? So it's kind of like a move order thing too. And now he moved the bishop b6, attacking on this square. But this now allows the rook a6, right? Because the bishop is kind of unguarded, and not only rook a6. So what was the reason of this being the mistake, right? Another reason is that now white activates the queen. So check this out, guys. Bishop a6 right away and putting pressure on d4 is a little bit different, rather than taking and then bishop b6, because after now, when white plays this and black wins the pawn, there is queen h5 move. It's a little bit annoying because that queen is active. So now what we have? This is under attack. This is under attack. Queen is active, right? And in this position, things are getting pretty complicated because black can't move this. This is hanging, right? And they can't randomly move the queen away, for example, here, because then there's the tactic, guys. Check this out. Oh, 1 second. I'll give you a couple of seconds. 5 seconds to find this tactic. The queen h5 is not just to prepare to attack or something. It puts the pressure on e8 too. 5 segundos. 5. 5. Okay, it's rook b6, guys. And after queen b6, it's bishop d4. Discovering attack on the e8 rook. Okay? That's why Esipenko made a very right choice and got rid of that bishop. You see, that bishop was very strong. There. Takes and moves the bishop. But that's okay, so oh sorry. I think moving the bishop was probably better. Like, the small problem with the queen c6, that this is a little bit pinned, but this is not the problem. Now they're both getting low on time. So this was always my biggest fear in chess, like getting low on time in the position like this. Oh my god, let me tell you guys, as a chess player, that's a nightmare. Nightmare. When the position is very dynamic and you're getting this low on time, it's very difficult to play. And it doesn't matter what level player you are, it's difficult for everybody, right? So that's why, like, being low on time, it's not big of the problem. Depends on which situation you're low on time. If it's normal, slow position and you're low on time, well, okay, you can still play it well. But if it's the very dynamic plus imbalanced position, which means the players have the different material on the board in this position, it's even more difficult to play this when you're low on time. That's why it's better to not get low on time in the position like this, but if you get it, then good luck. And that's what probably happened with the Esipenko. He played this move, which is a very, very big mistake. You guys can see evaluation bar going up because this allows white to bring another piece in the game. He takes c was the better option. It's also check move, and well, bishop f3, but at least you can get rid of that bishop if somewhere necessary, right? But this bishop getting in the game from a4, and not just from the a4. Check this out, guys, what he did. Then later, after queen g6, which attacks here, attacks there, right? And also it's on g6, so it creates a lot of background issues too. Later on, after rook e8, right? This exchange, check, and check this out, guys. So right now, all of the black pieces are on the queen side, which leaves the king with only rook protecting, right? Technically, right now. That's why Sindarov, like this kind of moves and ideas are very kind of like how to say, it's obvious for the players at this level. Just like, just get rid of that. Like, that's a defender piece, get rid of it, and then king is exposed. And check this out. He also gets some time back, makes checks. Learn this, guys. See? Check. Wins 30 seconds, goes back. They're very both. Or he's not winning the seconds there. Do they have increments? Oh my god. Sorry, guys. um, you know, it's either with the increment from the beginning or increment later. Sometimes they change the format. I'm gonna check that later, guys. Sorry. uh, is there an increment from the beginning of the game? Where is the Okay, I will check that in the next video. I will tell you guys. Sorry, because they change the format. Like sometimes it's like 90 minutes, 30-second increment every move, and then 30 minutes increment on move 40. Sometimes like 2 hours, 2 hours, and then you get at move 40 you get the 30 seconds, and then the increment starts from there. Sometimes even increment starts from move 60. So it depends on it. Like sometimes it's changed a little bit format, but bishop d7, that's a very, very smart move. Bishop gets to the game too, and check. He wins some time, and they finally got this extra 30 seconds, 30 minutes, excuse me. So you guys see, they both had, Sindarov had the 5 seconds, Esipenko had only 9 seconds, and after this check, now they both get the 30 minutes back. But the problem for Esipenko is it's already lost. Like I said already, like you're playing this position and you're hoping to get your time back, right? And then sometimes when you get the time back, it's just lost position. And after just one move, rook e6, which took only 2 minutes to him to play that, Esipenko resigns. Why it's a brilliant move? The problem is that rook e8 is unstoppable. There's nothing black can do about that. Well, only thing they can do is to give the queen away, but that's kind of bad too, right? And if they don't do that and take, then it's forcing checkmate, guys, because this bishop and the queen together. By the way, I will tell you now something interesting. When you guys have the opposite color bishop middle game, not end game, middle game, right? Well, this is already end game, but let's say if the queens are still on the board, attack is one of the best plans. Because when you're attacking opponent in the opposite color bishop middle game or end game when queens are still on the board, opponent cannot defend on that color square where you're attacking them. So in the opposite color bishop middle game or opposite color bishop end game with queens, attack is one of the best thing you can do, and attack opponents on those color squares where their bishop cannot defend. And then it's just a matter of time, like there, check, checkmate. Imagine, guys, I made 5 moves from that position, but on that level, they know that after knight takes, bishop takes, it's checkmate, right? It's me and like players my level need to calculate this. Isn't there really a checkmate there? But they see those checkmates up front, and very interesting game, right? Like usually you're not expecting this much out of the Queen's Gambit decline exchange variation because most of them are very dry positions. But I think this was pretty good game to analyze, and write down in the comments what you guys think about analyzing more games, or if there's any game that you're interested to analyze together, and also your thoughts about this game or any other games, or who's gonna win the candidates tournament. That's another question. And I will also cover the women's tournament too, because for some reason in more videos, well, not for some reason, understandable reason, More male games are covered in most of the videos and everywhere, but understandable reason. But it's also nice to cover the women's tournament too, because there was played a lot of great games too. So good luck, all of you. Take care of yourself, guys. See you next video. Bye.